Four, count them, 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 judges in one day handed down a ruling that, are not policy disagreements. They are a direct challenge to the separation of powers. I don't know if our judges understand the separation. There are 3 branches of government, equal and separate. And when I say equal, the founders pointed out that the Supreme Court and the judicial system is the weakest because it really doesn't have any power except to say, what are you bringing into me? I want to look at that. Is it following the Constitution? That's all it can do. Is it following it was so unimportant with our founders up until FDR. Remember, he wanted to empower the courts. He wanted to change the courts and everything else. Up until FDR, you know where the Supreme Court was found? Right. Nobody did. Because it was in the basement. When they built the Capitol, they were like, oh, yeah, we got the Supreme Court thing. Where are we going to put them? Put them in the basement. They were actually in the basement of the Capitol. That's how unimportant they were to our founders, all the way up to FDR. Then the progressives are like, hey, wait a minute. We've got a parachute into the utopia of progressivism if we just make these men in black super, super important. So they don't understand the separation of powers, which is the beating heart of our Constitution. Now, these aren't little things, okay? This is a judicial power grab that is set to undermine the executive branch and, by extension, the will of the people, the vote. Because none of us vote for the judges. None of us vote for the justices on the Supreme Court. So yesterday, first, a judge orders the Trump administration to reinstate USAID workers. Another one said, we demand that you disclose when and where these deportation flights with undocumented immigrants are happening. What are you? Are you an air traffic controller now, too? What the hell is that? Then there's a reinstatement of transgender policies in the military. And finally, the Department of Education has to bring back grants that Congress didn't explicitly mandate in some cases. You must spend that money. Well, no, not if Congress didn't mandate it. This isn't adjudication. This is legislation from the bench, period. Article 3 of the Constitution sets up the judiciary to interpret laws, not to run the government, to interpret laws. The executive, Article 2, gets to execute policy, especially on something like foreign aid or military personnel decisions where the president has a clear Constitution authority. When the judges step in and say, no, you got to do it my way, you're not just overstepping, you're rewriting the entire thing. Take the USAID ruling here. Federal judge says, Elon Musk, Trump's Doge team, you can't just shutter an agency or cut its workforce because it's likely constitutional. Well, you're likely an idiot, but that doesn't necessarily mean you are an idiot. Congress creates agencies, but the president then runs them. The executive branch, it's kind of like, who runs Ford? Who runs Ford? The executive branch. So if they want to cut the staff, the executive branch can do it. They have discretion over staffing and priorities. Again, CEO, managing a company. If Trump team says, we're pausing foreign aid to reassess, that's his call under Article 2. Not a judge's call, his call. If you look at history, on this specific case, Andrew Jackson slashed the federal spending in the 1830s. No court told him he couldn't do it because you don't get to micromanage the executive decisions unless there's a clear violation of a law. And likely unconstitutional is not a violation. Likely unconstitutional isn't a law. It's an opinion. And then there's the deportation flights. We demand that Trump tells us where these planes are taking off from, who's on these planes when they go back to their original destination. I didn't hear any of these judges saying, Joe Biden has to tell us where he's taking these people who are illegally coming over the border, and then we're just flying them to different cities all around the country. I don't remember any judge saying that, do you? It's almost as if they have an agenda. So a judge is telling Trump when, where, who. That's not transparency. That's handcuffing the executive's ability to enforce our laws. The president has power over borders and foreign affairs. Don't ask me about it, because I really thought that the states should have some say in it if the federal government is not enforcing the federal law and they're allowing an invasion to happen. I really believe that states should have the right to go, look, this is not a suicide compact, but no. Everybody on the left said, no, you have no power over that. That's the president. That's the federal government. Oh, okay, so then you agree with me. Hundreds of times in the 1950s, in 2018, Trump versus Hawaii, 2018, they said deportation is messy, but it's not the work of the judiciary to play flight scheduler. Imagine FDR having to justify, every troop movement, every plane in World War II. I need to see that place. Where is that plane taking off? Where is it flying to? What's on there? Who's on there? No, not your job. It's a joke to even think of that. The transgender military policy, same deal. The president is the commander-in-chief. Period. Nobody argued with that when he was saying, hey, dude, you'd look really cute in a nice, tight military skirt. Nobody said anything about his presidential powers when he put it in. It's an executive call. Okay? Military readiness is not a debate for the courtroom. And all that Trump is doing is reversing Biden's reversal of his original ban. Now, you can argue the merits, but the Constitution doesn't give the judges a vote on who wears a uniform and should it be pants or a skirt. Goldman versus Weinberger, 1986. Supreme Court upheld military dress codes over individual rights because, and I quote, the executive gets deference. Who's the executive? Oh, not a judge. Who's the executive? Well, I don't know. Who runs the executive branch? See, I just would like to talk down to John Roberts for just a minute, because maybe you've just been working too hard. Maybe you're tired. You haven't had a good night's sleep. But it seems like you were on the tippy top of the stupid tree, and you have hit every branch coming on down. A judge's job is to interpret the law, not dictate the policy. When the Department of Education, when it gives out grants, here's where it gets a little sticky. Congress appropriates the funds, but the executives spend them or doesn't spend them unless specifically dictated by Congress. Biden, the appointee Judge Amir, says Trump's impounding of $2 billion in foreign aid violates separation of powers. And here is the third branch violating the separation of powers. Congress has the purse strings under Article 1. But if the administration says we're cutting waste, that's within the executive branch discretion. Unless Congress explicitly says, no, sorry, we have the purse strings and you are going to spend that. If you look at Nixon in the 1970s, he tried impoundment. Congress pushed back with the Budget Control Act. So if today's Congress wants those grants, they can pass the law. Judges have nothing to say about it. Now, let me pivot to Biden here for a second, because if I hear one more person say, right, you're being a hypocrite. No, I'm not, actually. I'm being very consistent. Constitutional conservatives, we're not blind. We can see the easy parallels. Biden's student loan forgiveness plan. Well, you didn't have you had a problem with him giving away. Yes. And you're right. I see the easy first grader parallels. The president is doing something with money. Now that's where the similarity ends. A $400 billion executive overreach. How can you possibly say that? The Higher Education Act did not authorize wiping out debt wholesale. That's not the president's job to do. Now, it was slapped down by the U.S. Supreme Court in 23, I think again in 24. Biden versus Nebraska. Trump cutting U.S. aid or deporting immigrants. He's operating within the existing law. Okay? The cutting the agency, USAID, that's his discretion for USAID. Biden bypassed Congress. Biden took a proactive step and said, we're spending money. Who holds the purse strings? Why can the Congress step in and say, no, Mr. President, you are spending that money? Because Congress holds the purse strings, not the president, not the legislative branch. The Congress does. So you can pass a law that says you're spending it. You can pass a law that says you're not spending it. You can pass a law that says, I'm sorry, Mr. President, but you are or are not going to spend it. That's their purview. Certainly not a justice's. What Biden did was he came in and he said, yeah, I know you guys you hold the purse strings. Right. But here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to spend $400 million doing something you guys never authorized, something you never even considered. I'm going past you. I'm grabbing the wallet and I'm spending the money. How am I a hypocrite on this? Do you not see the difference here? When Trump is doing this, these are enforcement calls. And he has those according to Article 2. President Joe Biden was inventing new powers. And I swear to you, you let him get away with it, the next thing you would do is like, I can fly. No, you don't have that power, Mr. President. When you pause foreign aid to align with your foreign policy, which is an executive decision, that's the executive's job. When Biden forgives loans and just says, I'm spending money where there is no budget for it passed by Congress, that's called breaking the laws. Democrats cheered for the overreach of Biden, which was clearly. I mean, honestly, people, really, if you're honest for a fraction of a second, you understand this. He didn't have the right to spend the money. Only Congress does, if they don't authorize him to spend that money. Now, just like your kids, you say, you know what, Dad, I need to borrow the credit card because I'm going out tonight and I might have to stop and get gas or whatever. Can I use your credit card? Yes, I am authorizing my son to take my credit card. I'm not authorizing him just to spend like crazy. But under Biden, he was just taking the credit card. Now, are you happy if your son takes the credit card after you've authorized, stop for gas and he comes back with a $100,000 bill? No, I'm not. I'm really unhappy. But how happy are you if your son just takes your credit card out of your purse or your wallet in the middle of the night? You didn't authorize it. And then he spends $100,000. Now that's a different kind of thing, isn't it? Because now it's gone from, are you out of control, to you're a thief. Hypocrisy seems to be the Democrats' middle name right now. I want to give you one more thing on this. And then I'm going to start in on John Roberts. Because I got a lot to say about John Roberts as well. A lot, John. Coming up in just a second. First, give me 60 seconds. There is a certain quality of self-reliance in the American soul. I know sometimes it seems like we've forgotten it. And maybe that's one of the biggest parts of what's wrong with today's society. We're weak. We expect everything to be done for us, handed to us. I can't do that. I'm a third responder. No, you're the first responder. Underneath all of the layers of fat, there is one thing. A strong heart that beats in all of us. The resilient old America that we've always known and what made us who we are. You and I are part of it. It's why we feel pride when we can solve our problems ourselves. We take care of our own. The Jace case is all about empowering you to solve a problem on your own, whether there's a doctor or a pharmacy available nearby or not, whether it's in the middle of the night or it's in the middle of the day. It's a pack of 5 life-saving antibiotics approved by board-certified doctors. It includes a manual describing when and how you are to use them. But because you're the first responder here, you'll have all of the tools. When your son or daughter in the middle of the night has a high fever, you can wait until the morning because you'll have the Jace case. Use BECK as your promo code. Use Beck. Go to Jase, JASE.com, get a discount by using the promo code Beck. Jase.com, promo code Beck. 10 seconds, station ID. I think I have to catch my breath here for a second because I want to be well rested for what I have to say to John Roberts because I can't take that guy anymore. Can't take him.
You're not alone on that one for many, many reasons. I mean, I don't even understand the whole thing. I know you're going to get into it, but it's just like he's criticizing Trump for something that didn't even happen. Right? Like Trump.
Do you know how he criticized? Do you know you know how he did this? Because I'm looking into it this morning and I'm like, wait a minute, I can't find the press release because he issued a statement.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Where's the press release? How did he issue the statement? Oh, you'll not find it on the SCOTUS website. You won't find it there. You won't find it anywhere. He used the apparatus, but he knew it was so wrong. He's like, don't post this anywhere. Just send this out. You can't find it on any government website. There's no official statement, even though it's being described as an official statement. They just sent it out from the SCOTUS, I think, press office. They just sent it out, but don't leave any record of it. You want to make an official statement, make an official statement. You didn't want to make an official statement, and yet you wanted to make an official statement. So he sends this thing out, and it is so full of crap and hypocrisy. John Roberts, please shut the pie hole. But I'm going to make the point that he should shutteth ye pie hole in just a minute. And also, we're going to go over the JFK documents because they're chilling. Yes. No, I saw it in a news story. I'm not sure which news story it was, but apparently the files reveal that JFK was killed by seed oils. It might have been the Babylon Bee, but I'm not. We'll get into that coming up.
This is Glenn Beck.
All right, there's a guy on the staff, not me, of course, big fan of the Second Amendment. He owns quite a few guns at home, loves to go out and shoot, firmly committed to the idea that if he ever has to use them to protect his family, he can and he will. That's great. However, there's a wrinkle in all of this. He has two kinds of guns and weapons in his house because he has kids at home. One is a teenager, one's a little guy, and the little guy has autism. Unfortunately, he can't be trusted to be around guns because he doesn't understand the dangers, et cetera, et cetera. The guns have to all stay locked up. If you're a gun enthusiast at all, you know that when there's a home invasion, you have to have your gun locked up for safety with your kids, but you also need to have it handy. Well, this guy has two. He's got the guns all locked up, and then he has the non-lethal Byrna launcher. Non-lethal, but packs quite a punch. Kinetic or tear gas rounds. I mean, I don't want my kid playing with that either. But it's not the same as a gun. Byrna, BYRNA.com/Glenn. If you don't like guns or whatever, this is a great way to protect yourself. I like guns and I have one. Byrna.com/Glenn. Get 10% off right now.
Subscribe and save. BlazeTV.com/Glenn. Get $30 off with the promo code Glenn.
All right. Let me set the stage here. All right. Chief Justice John Roberts, the supposed guardian of judicial restraint, has once again stepped into the spotlight, not with a gavel, but with a press release. Now, remember, these are the justices that go to the State of the Union, and you could say, George Washington, he was the best, and America, it's the best. It's done some things wrong, but it's really, really super great. And they're not allowed to applaud. They're not allowed to show any kind of deference one way or another. They sit there with their hands folded. Why? So you don't show any kind of support one way or another. You are a neutral party. Okay. So he issues a press release, strangely not through the Supreme Court, not through the usual channels. Why? We'll get into that later. So it's a really rare move for a Chief Justice to do this. And he rebukes the president, President Trump, for suggesting that judges who overstep their bounds might face impeachment. Okay. Well, first of all, Trump, not known for his subtlety. Him saying things like this, not really novel, really. And this opinion isn't that novel. The Constitution vests Congress with the power to check the judiciary, just as it checks the executive. It's a blunt tool. I mean, it's impeachment, but it is in Article 3. It's not a blank check for black robe philosopher kings, okay? And it has been done in the past. It's a very high bar, as it should be. Just like impeachment for the president. How dare you say he should be impeached? Why? Why? Is it wrong for them to say you want to impeach the president? Is it wrong for people to call for impeachment? Because that's in the Constitution. You may not like it. You may think that that's not the standard, but it is not something that you come out and go, oh my gosh, how dare you? You're saying, oh, I got to clutch my pearls. I'm not even wearing pearls. I wish I was transgender right now because I'd be having my strand of pearls that I can clutch. No, that's in the Constitution. Yet Roberts, in his indignation, clutching his pearls, crying out, this is a threat to judicial independence. Okay, all right. Okay, hang on. Now, it's not wrong to defend the appellate review process. Usually these things come out when you're giving a talk to, law students or something. You'll say, that's not the way it works, et cetera, et cetera. But no. This was an official statement. And he's spoken about this even eloquently at times about the proper, the proper channels to correct judicial error. 2018, he reminded us, we don't have Obama judges or Trump judges or Bush judges or Clinton judges. We just have a judge. Well, yeah, okay, I wish that were true, but it's not. See, D.C. district judges. But he's come out and said that, and that would be the right thing. I wish we didn't have those. The system is designed so higher courts can sift through the lower ones, not for pitches or for pitchforks and gavels to fly. Now, Trump is not, parsing Mayberry versus Madison. That's not what he was doing, okay? It's not like, I'd like to make an intellectual case on this. He's like, I think this is impeachable. So here's the president saying this and the judicial branch trying to muzzle him doesn't. I mean, I don't care, but free speech, it's not bent away from the commander-in-chief, is it? I mean, can the commander-in-chief, can the president have his point of view, just like can John Roberts have his point of view? John Roberts should have his own point of view based solely on the Constitution, and he should have the restraint to look impartial every step of the way. I wonder, can he be trusted to try anything, to review anything on Donald Trump? And let me make this case. Trump thinks that justices that are overreaching by inventing rights or rewriting statutes from the bench, he thinks that is impeachable. Okay, he has every right to say so. You know, the framers didn't build a system where only judges can chime in on things. But Roberts seems to think that Trump's words carry some, I don't know, hypnotic power that's going to frame America's view of the judiciary as a piñata for political whacking. Only Donald Trump can do that. But he doesn't even own his own statement, a formal, deliberate, not some offhanded quip, framing Trump in this light as a hypnotist. I don't know. Isn't there something to be seen here from the Chief Justice? I mean, he's not just scolding, he is signaling, I'm the arbiter of propriety. I'm the one that will tell what's right and what's wrong. That is a power play dressed as principle. How do I know that? Let me ask you this. Where was his righteous pen? When did he say, someone get me a quill? When Biden railed against the Supreme Court as out of control or a extremist court that maybe we should add 2 or 3 more justices until we get it right. Get me my quill. I must clutch my pearls and write a missive out right now. Where was that? He didn't say anything about that. He didn't say anything about that. And that one's a pretty well-established idea. We don't do that. But if you want to just look at them as face value, I think one is stronger than the other. But if you want to just take it as even, Trump said this, and it's even though it's in the Constitution, how dare you? And the other that Biden did is not in the Constitution, but you could read it any way you want if you'd like. And only one of them gets in trouble from the Supreme Court? Well, I mean, I don't understand. No statements. Not a lecture. Nothing. Apparently, the threat only comes from Donald Trump. Now, let me remind you, this is a guy who twisted him. I mean, the guy was a pretzel with Obamacare. He was so twisted inside and out. He changed Obamacare. He rewrote Obamacare out of a tax. Or no, into a tax, right? Was it in tax or out of it? I can't remember. One way or another, he said exact opposite of what the bill actually said. Remember with Obamacare? He's like, what it should have said was, this isn't written correctly. I'm sending it back to Congress. If they want it to be a tax, they can write it that way. No, he didn't do that. He just said, yeah, I'm going to rewrite it. That's not his job. I mean, he's a gymnast. He bent over backwards in 2015 saying established by the state could mean federal government because, well, intent matters more than text. Now, the text is pretty important, really kind of important, because if you get too far away from the people that actually said something, and did something, and you don't really know what their intent is. I don't know. I've read a lot of history books, and then I've read a lot of journals of those people that the history books were written about. They don't say the same thing. This is what he was doing, amending the Constitution from the bench, is the biggest betrayal, constitutional betrayal of the first order. The Constitution, John, is not a suggestion. It's a contract. Roberts, of all people, should know that. So here we are, a Chief Justice who wields his platform selectively, chastising a president for speaking his mind while the other presidents speaking their mind, saying things like, this is an extremist court. This is why we have to start all over again with the Supreme. That's why you don't say anything about that guy. Trump's call for the impeachment in the Constitution may be misguided. I don't know. I kind of agree with it myself. But when you look at the history of impeaching judges, the bar is super, super high. Okay? And it should be, just like the bar to impeach the president. It should be super, super high. I think that this is impeachable, but I don't think you're going to make that case. The real question is why does John Roberts think his voice should drown out the rest? Why does he think he is the one that should be heard on this? I mean, if you're worried about framing, this guy's framing this, all wrong, and people are going to follow him. What the hell are you doing? Maybe you should look in the mirror here, John. Maybe it's just me. But somehow I don't think it is. Here's what's coming. We knew this because, what was it, a month ago? And do I have this in my show prep? I know I have it someplace today. When you're looking at what's coming, we told you this because they told us this months ago, that what they were going to do was activate all of these activist judges. They were going to file suits. They were going to do everything they could. Instead of stopping him in the streets, which didn't work, they're going to start trying to stop him in the court system. Well, that honestly, guys, you didn't really learn your lesson. He's not stopped by the court system. I don't know. You tried that before. But go ahead. You're going to try it again. That's all that's happening. This isn't about the truth. This is about a group of desperate people who know they're being exposed right now. Why do you think they're so freaked out? Because they're being exposed. It's over. It's over. You're not getting the cash from the people anymore. You're not just going to milk the system until all of us are just out of milk. No, it's over. The game is over. And so what do they have to do? They have to do whatever they can. Well, they can't put people on the streets because that didn't work out for them. So now, and they told us this, just go after Donald Trump in every possible way in the court. Just get him tied up in the court. Well, that sure tells you how much they love America, doesn't it? Especially when you have somebody like Schumer saying, just a few years ago, look, we all know there's waste. We all know there's fraud in the government, and it has to be stopped. Well, wait, then so we're stopping it, and now you're not for that? What else is going on? And why is it that John Roberts is only speaking out against Trump and didn't say boo under Biden? Is it possible that he wanted to, but he was afraid because the left were the ones that sent people to the justice's house to kill the justices? And he knows the people on the right that we're not that kind of people. We don't do that. We don't believe in that. They do. So, John, are you just a hypocrite that doesn't understand the Constitution? Or are you a coward? Because those are the only two that I see as real possibilities. Back in just a second. All right, riddle. What's shiny, timeless, and keeps your retirement from vanishing into thin air when things get bad? You're never going to figure it out. Oh, crap. Gold, you knew. Not much of a riddle. It's absolutely true. Gold has stood for thousands and thousands of. It's in the Bible. It's a barrier, or it's resistant to things like inflation. It is wise to have maybe 10% of anything that you have invested in gold, because the dollar could go away quickly. You decide, but please do your homework on that. I recommend, as always, that you do your homework, figure that out. Part of the homework for me is calling Lear Capital. This is the gold company that for years and years and years Rush Limbaugh talked about. Lear Capital, call them today, 800-957-GOLD. 800-957-GOLD. Get your free $4,200 gold report when you call 800-957-GOLD. 800-957-GOLD. You can get up to $15,000 in free gold or silver with qualifying purchase, but check them out now, 800-957-GOLD.
You ever seen a liberal's hands? Smoother than a snake on oil. Guess they're more worried about the meaning of the word female than the word work. Glenn Beck will be right back.
We've been talking a lot about AI recently, and, it's getting smarter, it's getting faster, and in some ways it's getting more dangerous. It could be scanning records while you sleep, forging documents in seconds. Your home title could belong to some cyber criminal halfway across the world. No ski masks, no crowbars, just an algorithm quietly stealing your biggest investment right out from under you. Here's the kicker. It's already happening. House stealing is a real crime. It's happening across the country. Imagine what happens when hackers start unleashing AI on it. It's going to be really ugly. Think of how hard it is going to be to stop. If you're not protected, your home could be next. And that's why you need Home Title Lock's Triple Lock protection. Triple Lock provides 24/7 monitoring of your title, urgent alerts of any changes, and if, God forbid, the worst thing happens, their U.S.-based team works fast to restore your title at no additional cost to you. And our friends over at Home Title Lock have a special offer for you going on right now. When you sign up for HomeTitleLock.com and you use the promo code BLAZE, you'll get 30 days of their Triple Lock protection for free. And you get a free title history report so you can make sure you aren't already a victim. So go to HomeTitleLock.com right now. Use the promo code BLAZE. You can stop AI criminals and good old-fashioned regular criminals, too, before they stop you. It's HomeTitleLock.com. The promo code is BLAZE. This is your biggest investment. It's probably your retirement. Make sure it is protected. HomeTitleLock.com. The promo code is BLAZE. HomeTitleLock.com. Promo code BLAZE.
So tonight, why the heck are we in NATO? I mean, it's an honest question. You might decide we should be in NATO. You might decide we're not. But why are we there? Tonight, I'm going to give you a full breakdown of the deepening ties with Ukraine that we've seen deepen disturbingly so since 2008. The billions in military aid, the Biden family, their shady connections. Context is everything, especially when it comes to understanding Ukraine and NATO and the current crisis. Has America's commitment to Europe gone too far? And this kind of plays into my Thursday podcast with former Prime Minister Liz Truss from the United Kingdom. She's coming in, and it'll be the podcast on Thursday. You'll get it for Blaze TV subscribers Saturday over the weekend. But to really understand where I'm going and what I'm thinking right now, you really have to kind of get both of these. Let's hear it from the former Prime Minister. What do you think is really happening over in Europe and UK? And then tonight, I'm going to show you how we got into this mess with Ukraine and into NATO. And then you just have to ask yourself, should we still be in NATO or not? What should we do in Ukraine? Tonight, 9 p.m. Eastern, only on blazetv.com/Glenn. Tomorrow, 6 p.m. Eastern on YouTube. Tonight.
This is Glenn Beck.